Sean Morgan is like a brother to me, straight up. We came up together in this industry. Both of us started as club security before we even knew what real protection work looked like. We lost touch for a few years, though. You know how life goes. He went deep into the executive driver and protection world out in LA while I was building my company here. When we reconnected about 6 months ago, we're having drinks, and he's telling me stories that made my blood run cold. I'm talking about situations where one wrong decision means you're not going home that night. I told him right there, bro, you gotta come on the show and tell people about this. Not the sanitized version you tell your family, the real version of what went down. What you're about to hear is why executive protection isn't just about opening car doors and looking tough in a suit. It's about reading situations that could get you killed, protecting people who might be more dangerous than the threats outside, and living in that gray area where the law doesn't always apply. This is Sean Morgan, and this is the story of the night he realized his client was the most dangerous person in the vehicle. Alright, so picture this for a second. It's 11:47 p.m. on Sunset Boulevard. Black Escalade with $2.3 million in cryptocurrency wallets sitting in the back seat. Sean's in the driver's seat, eyes on the rearview mirror, watching two motorcycles that have been tailing them for the last 4 blocks. Set the scene for me, bro.
Yeah, so that's when I see it happen, the same exact hand signal the guy on the bike made 3 weeks earlier when I thought they were just checking us out, doing reconnaissance or whatever. My client Marcus is on his phone in the back, completely oblivious to what's happening, talking about Ethereum gas fees or some shit I don't even understand. And I'm sitting there realizing in that moment that that wasn't a dry run 3 weeks ago. That was them learning my route, my timing, every single one of my blind spots.
So you're putting it together right then that they were studying you the whole time, not just randomly following.
Exactly, and the next exit is 2 miles away. The motorcycles are splitting up now, one positioning on each side of us like they're setting up a box. I've got maybe 90 seconds to decide, do I protect the client, or do I get us both killed trying to be a hero? That's the calculation running through my head.
Man, we're gonna get into all that, but let's back up first. You and I both started in club security, different cities, but the same bullshit every weekend. When did you make the jump from clubs to executive protection? Because I know from my own experience, it's not just about putting on a suit and opening car doors.
So I was working this high-end club in West Hollywood, right? Bottle service, celebrities walking through, influencers, the usual scene you see out in LA. But I started noticing these patterns after a while. Certain clients always had drivers waiting outside, always had someone with them scanning the room, reading the crowd.
Yeah, the real VIPs always got that extra layer, not just the club security, but their own people watching their back.
Exactly what I'm saying. So one night I break up a situation before it even really starts. This drunk tech bro is getting aggressive with a VIP's table, getting loud. I redirect him smooth, no drama, no scene, just walk him to the bar and defuse it. The VIP's driver approaches me after, hands me a business card.
That's how it happens, though. Somebody sees you handle something the right way, and they start thinking you could work at a higher level.
Right, so 3 days later I'm interviewing for LA Elite. They run executive protection for tech founders, crypto investors, some entertainment industry people, high net worth individuals. The pay was triple what I was making at the club, and I'm thinking this is going to be easy money, just driving people around and looking professional.
But it never is, though, is it? What was the first client that made you realize this was a completely different world than club security?
First client was a venture capitalist. Seemed straightforward at first. Airport pickups, dinner runs to nice restaurants, maybe a club appearance here and there. But on day 3, I'm driving him to a meeting in a warehouse in Vernon at 2 in the morning. Like, what kind of legitimate business meeting happens in Vernon at 2 a.m.?
Nothing good, that's for damn sure. Vernon at 2 a.m. is where things happen that can't happen in the daylight.
Facts. So he's got this duffel bag with him, won't tell me what's in it. 3 guys waiting inside the warehouse, and I recognize one of them from a federal indictment I'd seen on the news a few months back. That's when I understood that executive protection isn't about protecting executives. It's about protecting people who operate in spaces where the law gets real flexible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. You're not protecting Boy Scouts, you're protecting people who got enemies for real reasons.
Right, and the money was too good to walk away from at that point. And honestly, after years of breaking up drunk fights over bottle service, this felt like the major leagues. You're dealing with people who have real enemies, not just jealous guys at the club. I'm talking about people who will spend 6 figures to make a problem disappear permanently.
So walk me through when you first met Marcus, the client from the store you opened with. When did he come into the picture?
Marcus came about 8 months into my time at LA Elite. Late 30s, crypto entrepreneur. Or at least that's what his LinkedIn profile said when I looked him up. Made his money early on Bitcoin, now he's into DeFi, NFT platforms. All that shit that honestly I still don't fully understand even after working with him.
Most of that crypto stuff is designed so regular people can't understand it. Makes it easier to hide what's really going on.
Yeah, looking back, that makes total sense. So LA Elite assigns me to him for a 3-month contract premium rate, which should have been my first clue something was up. They only charge premium rate when there's elevated risk involved. But I'm thinking maybe he just wants the best service, likes to pay for quality, whatever.
What were the red flags in the first couple weeks? Because I know you read people for a living.
First week, everything seemed normal enough. Airport runs to LAX, meetings in Century City, dinner at Nobu, the usual high-end client routine. He was polite, tipped well, didn't micromanage my driving or tell me how to do my job. Honestly, seemed like one of the easier clients I'd had. But week 2, the whole pattern changes completely. Late-night pickups from locations that aren't on his calendar, places that make no sense for a tech entrepreneur.
Like what kind of places we talking about? Because that's when your antenna should start going up.
Industrial areas in South LA, storage facilities in Inglewood, and once a private hangar at Van Nuys Airport at 3 in the morning on a Tuesday. And he's always carrying these hard drives, small encrypted ones. He's paranoid about them too, won't let them out of his sight, won't put them in the trunk.
So he's physically holding on to them the whole time, like they're more valuable than his own life, basically.
Exactly, and then I start noticing the tail cars. Different vehicles every time, but always the same pattern of how they'd follow us. They'd pick us up about 3 blocks from wherever we started, follow for maybe 10 or 15 minutes, then peel off and disappear.
That's surveillance. They're tracking his movements and building a pattern. Did you report that to LA Elite?
Yeah, I reported it to my supervisor immediately. They tell me Marcus is aware of the situation. It's expected given his profile, just stay alert. That's when I knew for sure that they knew way more than they were telling me, like they were keeping me in the dark on purpose.
That's some bullshit right there. You can't protect somebody properly if you don't know what the real threats are.
Right, but I'm getting paid good money and I convince myself that maybe I'm just being paranoid. Maybe this is normal for high-level crypto people.
So tell me about this dry run you mentioned in the beginning. When did that go down?
The dry run happened 3 weeks before the main incident. We're leaving a meeting in downtown LA around midnight, heading back to his place in Century City. I'm heading to the 110 freeway when 2 motorcycles pull up alongside us at a red light on Figueroa.
Motorcycles are always sketchy in these situations because they can maneuver around traffic, get away fast, hard to identify.
Exactly, and the rider on the left makes this hand signal that I'll never forget. He touches his helmet twice with his right hand, then points directly at me. I'm watching him in my side mirror, and he's staring right at me through his helmet visor. Not at Marcus in the back, specifically at me.
So they're letting you know that they see you, they know you're the driver, they're studying you specifically?
Yeah, and the light turns green, they accelerate ahead of us and disappear into traffic. I ask Marcus if he knows those guys, if they work for him or something. He barely looks up from his phone, says, probably just fans with this weird smile on his face, like he's amused by the whole thing.
Nah, that's not a normal response. That's somebody who knows exactly who those people are and he's lying to you.
That's what I'm saying. That night I couldn't sleep at all. Something about the way that rider looked at me, it was professional, calculated. I'd seen that look before in my club days, right before someone pulled a weapon or made a move. It's that predator energy, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know that look. That's the look of somebody who's already decided what they're gonna do. They're just waiting for the right moment.
Facts. I should have pressed Marcus harder right then. Should have demanded real answers about who those guys were and what was going on. But the money was hitting my account every 2 weeks like clockwork, and I convinced myself I was being paranoid, that everything was fine.
That's what they count on, though. They pay you enough that you start ignoring your instincts because you don't want to lose the gig.
Exactly what happened. What I didn't know at the time was that Marcus wasn't just laundering crypto for himself or his own business. He was the middleman for an organization moving money from fentanyl sales into legitimate businesses through digital assets, washing it clean.
Oh shit, so you're driving around a key player in a cartel money laundering operation and you don't even know it.
Right, and that dry run with the motorcycles? That wasn't them checking us out randomly. That was them mapping my route, timing my decisions, learning my blind spots. They were planning the hit, and I drove right into their research phase like an amateur because I didn't know what I was really dealing with.
All right, so take me back to that night, the night from the cold open. What led up to that moment on Sunset Boulevard?
It's a Thursday night, late November, around 10 p.m. Marcus texts me, which is unusual because his pickups are usually scheduled days in advance through LA Elite. He says he needs a ride from his penthouse in Century City to a meeting in Beverly Hills. Needs me there in 30 minutes.
So already the pattern's different. He's breaking his usual routine. That should have been another red flag right there.
Yeah, I should have paid more attention to that. I pick him up at 10:30 and he's got this leather messenger bag, the kind that costs more than my monthly rent. And he's nervous. I can see it immediately in how he's gripping the bag, checking his phone every 30 seconds like he's expecting bad news.
That's when you know something's about to go down, when a client who's usually calm starts showing that nervous energy.
Right, so we're on Sunset heading west toward Beverly Hills. Traffic's light for LA, which actually makes me more nervous because it's easier to track us. Fewer witnesses, too, if something happens. And that's when I spot them in my rearview mirror, 2 motorcycles, black, no plates visible from my angle.
Same setup as the dry run 3 weeks earlier, same type of bikes?
Same exact setup. They're maintaining a perfect follow distance, about 4 car lengths back, staying in formation. So I take a random turn onto a side street, just to test if they're actually following us or if it's coincidence. They follow.
And that's when you know for sure it's intentional, they're locked onto you.
Exactly, I take another random turn. They're still there, maintaining that same distance. Now I know this is a coordinated tail. I tell Marcus we've got a tail, 2 motorcycles. He finally looks up from his phone, turns around in his seat to look out the back window.
What was his reaction? Because that tells you a lot about whether he knew this was coming.
And I see it in his face immediately. He's not surprised at all. He's scared, but he's not surprised. Like he was expecting this to happen eventually. He asks me, how long have they been following us? I tell him since we left his building. He goes pale, starts typing frantically on his phone.
So he's trying to reach out to somebody, maybe warn them or ask for help or something?
Yeah, and the motorcycles start to close distance at that exact moment. Now they're 2 car lengths back instead of 4, tightening up on us. One of them, the rider on the left, makes that same hand signal from 3 weeks ago. Touches his helmet twice, then points at me.
And that's the moment from the cold open, when you realize this isn't reconnaissance anymore. This is the actual hit.
That's exactly when it hit me. The dry run was them learning my patterns, and tonight they're executing whatever they planned. I've got my Glock 19 in a holster under my jacket, but what am I going to do? Shoot at motorcycles while driving 50 miles per hour on Sunset Boulevard?
Right, because that's how innocent people die. You start shooting on a busy street and you hit somebody who's got nothing to do with this.
Exactly what I'm thinking. So I tell Marcus we need to get to a police station right now. That's our best option for safety. He grabs my shoulder hard and says, "No cops, absolutely no cops. You don't understand who these people are." Like he's terrified of the police getting involved.
Because if the cops get involved, then whatever illegal shit he's doing comes to light and he's got problems on both sides.
Right, and the motorcycles split up at that moment. One on each side of the Escalade now, boxing us in like they're setting up for something. I can see the rider on the right reaching into his jacket. We're maybe 90 seconds from them making their move, whatever that's gonna be.
So walk me through what you're thinking in that moment. You've got seconds to make a decision that could save your life or end it.
Marcus is panicking now, finally telling me the truth about what's really going on. He says he missed a payment. He was supposed to deliver something tonight. He was supposed to deliver $2.3 million in cryptocurrency wallets, but the exchange rate dropped and he came up $400,000 short.
$400,000 short on a $2 million delivery, and these are people who don't do payment plans, I'm guessing.
That's what he tells me. He says the people he works for don't accept excuses, they don't negotiate. You miss a delivery, you become an example for everyone else. And I'm doing the math in my head real quick. An armored vehicle would have been standard protocol for this kind of transport, but we're in a regular Escalade.
So either LA Elite is incompetent or they set you up knowing what was going to happen and sending you out there anyway.
That's what I'm realizing. And the motorcycle on the left pulls ahead of us, starts to slow down. That's a classic intercept maneuver. They're trying to box us in, force me to brake hard, create a kill zone where we're stopped and they can do whatever they came to do.
So what's your move? Because you can't just sit there and let them box you in.
I make a decision in that split second. I slam the accelerator all the way down, swerve right across 2 lanes, and take the exit for Doheny Drive doing about 70. The Escalade's not built for this kind of aggressive driving, but it's all I've got. I'm just trying to create separation, break their formation.
Did it work? Did you manage to split them up, or did they both follow you onto Doheny?
One motorcycle follows me onto the exit. The other one overshoots it, stuck on Sunset because he was too far ahead and couldn't brake in time. So I've split them up, which gives me maybe a 30-second advantage. But now I'm on Doheny, which is residential, narrow streets, parked cars on both sides.
And you're running red lights through a residential area, praying some family isn't crossing the street at the wrong time.
Exactly, that's the nightmare scenario running through my head. Marcus is screaming at me to stop, to let him out, that he'll handle it himself. I tell him if he gets out of this vehicle right now, he's dead in under a minute. These guys aren't here to negotiate with him.
Right, because if they just wanted to talk to him, they wouldn't be chasing you through Beverly Hills on motorcycles at midnight.
The remaining motorcycle is right on us now, maybe 20 feet back. I can see the rider clearly in my mirror, full face helmet, dark jacket, and his right hand is definitely holding something now. I can see the outline of it. Could be a gun, could be something else, but it's a weapon for sure.
So what do you do at that point? You can't outrun a motorcycle in an Escalade on residential streets.
I make a hard left onto Elevado, and I deliberately clip a parked car with my rear bumper. Just tap it hard enough to send us into a controlled spin. The impact sends us spinning around, but it also sends the motorcycle wide because he wasn't expecting that level of aggressive, almost reckless driving from me.
That's actually smart, though. You're using the vehicle as a weapon, creating chaos that works in your favor.
Yeah, and now we're facing the wrong direction on the street, and I can see the rider recovering, turning his bike around to come back at us. He's maybe 50 yards away at this point, and that's when I do something I never thought I'd actually do in real life.
What'd you do? Because I'm guessing this is where the Glock comes into play.
I pull my Glock 19, tell Marcus to get down on the floor, and I put 3 rounds through my own windshield directly at the motorcycle. I'm not trying to hit him necessarily. I'm trying to make him think twice about closing that distance. I'm trying to change the equation in his head.
And it worked? He backed off when you started shooting?
Yeah, it worked. He brakes hard, swerves to the side, nearly loses control of the bike. He wasn't expecting return fire from the driver. I used that 5-second window to whip the Escalade around and floor it back towards sunset, back toward traffic and witnesses and cameras.
Because you know they're less likely to make a move if there's a bunch of witnesses around who can identify them.
Exactly, so we make it to the Beverly Hills Hotel. I pull right up to the main entrance, valet parking area, security everywhere, cameras covering every angle. I tell Marcus to get inside and don't come out until I call him. The motorcycle doesn't follow us into the hotel zone.
Too many cameras, too many witnesses. They were willing to kill you on a dark street, but not in front of the Beverly Hills Hotel.
Right, and I'm sitting there in the driver's seat, hands shaking from the adrenaline, 3 bullet holes in my windshield that I put there myself. And Marcus is just looking at me like I'm the one who caused this whole problem, like this is somehow my fault that we almost got killed.
That's wild. You just saved his life and he's looking at you like you're the problem. So what happened next? You're sitting there. What's your next move?
I call my supervisor at LA Elite immediately, tell him exactly what happened, that we need police, that this was an attempted hit on the client. You know what he says to me? File an incident report and bring the vehicle back to the depot. That's it. That's his entire response.
No concern about whether you're okay? No questions about Marcus's safety? Just bring the car back?
Nothing. No, are you injured? No, do you need backup? Just bring the vehicle back. That's when I knew for sure they were covering their ass, not protecting their people. So I filed the incident report, detailed as hell. Times, locations, descriptions of the motorcycles, the hand signals, everything I could remember.
And what did LA Elite do with that report? Because I'm guessing they didn't exactly spring into action to protect you.
2 days later, I get called into the office for a meeting. I'm thinking maybe they're going to debrief me, ask more questions, maybe assign me protection. They terminate my contract on the spot. They cite unauthorized use of a firearm and damage to company property as the reasons.
Are you serious? You saved a client's life and they fired you for it? That's some backwards shit right there.
The fact that I saved Marcus's life doesn't even come up in the conversation. They're treating it like I vandalized company property for no reason. And Marcus disappears completely after that night. I try to reach him. Calls go straight to voicemail. Texts turn green like he blocked me.
Did you ever find out who those guys on the motorcycles were actually working for? Like who sent them?
Not officially, but about a week after I'm terminated, I get a visit at my apartment. 2 guys in nice suits, very polite, very professional. They don't show badges, don't say what agency they're with or who they work for. They just start asking me questions about Marcus.
Federal agents, probably. What kind of questions were they asking you?
Questions about his meetings, where I drove him, the hard drives he was always carrying, who he met with, patterns I noticed. I tell them I was just the driver. I don't know anything about his business dealings, which was mostly true at that point.
But they're coming to you specifically, which means they think you know something or saw something important.
Yeah, and they smile at me, thank me for my time, very polite about it. Then one of them hands me a card with just a phone number on it. He says, "If you remember anything else, call this number. And Mr. Morgan, forget everything you think you know about Marcus Chen."
Wait, Marcus Chen? I thought his name was Marcus something else.
That's when I learned his real name wasn't even Marcus, or at least the last name was different. The whole identity I knew was constructed, fake. The crypto entrepreneur story, the LinkedIn profile, all of it was a cover for a money laundering operation.
So you were protecting someone who was basically a ghost, and you didn't even know his real identity the whole time.
Right, so I start doing my own research after that, very carefully. I'm looking up news articles, federal cases, trying to piece together what I was actually involved in. Turns out there's been a federal investigation into cryptocurrency laundering networks with ties to Mexican organizations for the last 18 months.
So the hard drives he was carrying, those were the cryptocurrency wallets with all the dirty money in them?
Exactly, encrypted wallets containing millions in Bitcoin and Ethereum, all of it dirty money from fentanyl sales being washed through DeFi platforms and NFT sales. They move the drug money into crypto, run it through a bunch of complex transactions that are hard to trace, then convert it back into legitimate assets.
And Marcus, or whatever his real name is, he was the middleman making all that happen?
Yeah, and LA Elite had to have known what he was doing. You don't assign premium rate protection to a random crypto guy unless you know he's high risk. They sent me in blind, probably hoping I'd be professional enough to not ask questions and just do my job without getting curious.
That's messed up, though. They put you in danger without giving you the full picture of what you were dealing with.
I found out later that 2 other drivers who worked Marcus's route before me both quit within a month of starting. One of them moved to a different state entirely, just packed up and left. Nobody wanted to talk about why, everybody just stayed quiet.
Because they probably saw the same red flags you did and got out before something bad happened to them.
Right, and the motorcycles, I never got official confirmation, but based on the tactics and the coordination, they were professional enforcers. Not random criminals trying to rob us, these were people sent specifically to collect a debt and make an example out of Marcus.
What haunts you most about that whole situation? Like when you think back on it now, what keeps you up at night?
What haunts me is this question. If Marcus had paid that $400,000 he was short, would they have just let him live? Or was he always going to be a loose end that needed cleaning up eventually? Like maybe that night was just the excuse they were waiting for.
That's a good question, because people who know too much about cartel operations don't usually get to just retire peacefully.
Exactly, and me, I was just collateral damage waiting to happen. If they'd succeeded that night, I'd be in a body bag too. Just another driver who was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and nobody would have asked too many questions about it.
Where's Marcus now? Is he even still alive, or did they eventually catch up with him?
I honestly don't know. His LinkedIn went dormant. All his social media stopped updating. Either he's in witness protection somewhere or he's dead. Part of me hopes he made a deal with the feds and he's living under a new identity somewhere far from LA.
But the other part of you thinks those motorcycles eventually caught up with him and finished what they started.
Yeah, because people like that don't just forget about a $2 million debt. They don't let people walk away when they know too much. I think about that sometimes. Wonder if he's out there somewhere looking over his shoulder every day, or if it's already over for him.
So what did you do after all this went down? You said you don't work executive protection anymore, at least not the same way.
I don't work for companies like LA Elite anymore, that's for sure. Now I only take clients I can fully vet personally, people I can verify are legitimate. And I ask every question I should have asked Marcus on day one. Where's the money coming from? Who are your enemies? What's the real risk level?
That's smart, though, because you can't protect somebody properly if you don't know what you're actually protecting them from.
Right. And the money's not as good now as it was with LA Elite, but I sleep at night and I'm not looking over my shoulder. I'm not wondering if tonight's the night those motorcycles come back to finish what they started because I saw too much.
Do you ever worry about that, though? Like that they might still come looking for you because you were a witness?
The first few months after it happened, yeah, I was paranoid as hell. Checking my mirrors constantly, changing my routes, sleeping with my gun next to the bed. But I think they realized I was just the driver. I didn't actually know anything about the operation that could hurt them.
Plus, if they came after you after the fact, that just draws more attention to the whole situation, especially if the feds are already investigating.
Yeah, that's what I tell myself anyway. But I still pay attention to my surroundings, still notice when the same car shows up twice. That whole experience changed how I see this industry completely. It's not glamorous, it's not about protecting celebrities and looking cool.
It's about understanding that sometimes the biggest threat is the person you're supposed to be protecting, not the people outside.
Exactly. And knowing when to walk away from a situation before it gets you killed. The money's never worth your life. I wish I'd walked away from Marcus after that first weird meeting in Vernon at 2 a.m., but I let the money cloud my judgment.
That's real, though, and that's the lesson everybody in this industry needs to hear. Trust your instincts when something feels wrong.
Because your instincts are usually right, they're picking up on things your conscious mind hasn't processed yet. When those motorcycles showed up the first time and I felt that tension, I should have listened to that feeling instead of rationalizing it away.
Have you stayed in touch with anybody from LA Elite, or did you just cut ties completely after they terminated you?
Cut ties completely. A few of the other drivers reached out to me privately, said they respected what I did, that I handled it right. But nobody wanted to go on record saying LA Elite messed up or that they put me in danger knowingly.
Because they're all still trying to work in the industry and they don't want to burn bridges or get blacklisted.
Right, and I get it, people got bills to pay. But it also showed me that nobody's going to look out for you in this business except you. The company's going to protect itself first, the client's going to protect themselves, you got to be the one watching your own back.
That's facts right there. What would you tell somebody who's thinking about getting into executive protection, knowing what you know now?
I'd tell them it can be a good career if you do it right, but you got to vet everything. Vet the company, vet the client, vet the situation. Don't just take an assignment because the money's good. Ask questions, demand real answers, and if something doesn't add up, walk away.
And trust your gut when it's telling you something's wrong, even if you can't articulate exactly what it is.
Exactly, because that gut feeling has kept humans alive for thousands of years. It's pattern recognition happening faster than conscious thought. When every instinct is screaming at you that something's wrong, that's not paranoia, that's your survival mechanism working correctly.
Sean, brother, I really appreciate you coming on and telling this story. I know it's not easy to relive that night and everything that came after.
Thanks for having me, Jay. If this story saves one driver from making the mistakes I made, then it was worth telling, you know?
For everyone listening, this is what real executive protection looks like. It's not glamorous. It's not about standing next to celebrities looking tough in a suit. It's about reading situations before they turn deadly, asking the right questions even when people don't want to answer them, and understanding that sometimes the biggest threat is sitting in the back seat. If you're in this industry, vet your clients hard, vet your employers even harder, and if something doesn't feel right, trust that instinct every single time. Sean's alive today because he trusted his gut when those motorcycles showed up and he made the hard decisions that needed to be made in that moment. If you got value from this episode, subscribe to The Protection Perspective wherever you listen to podcasts. Leave us a review, share it with somebody in the industry who needs to hear this. And if you've got a story like Sean's, something that changed how you see this work, something that doesn't make it into the training manuals, reach out to us. This is what this show is about. The real stories, the dark stories, the ones that show you what this industry actually looks like when things go wrong. Sean, thank you again, man. Stay safe out there, keep your head on a swivel, and I'll see you soon.
Appreciate it, Jay. Everybody listening, take care of yourselves and trust your instincts. They'll keep you alive when nothing else will.
This has been The Protection Perspective. I'm Big J, and I'll see you next week with another story from the field. Actually, hold up 1 second before we wrap.
Yeah, what's up?
There's something I want to ask you about the aftermath because I think that's where a lot of guys struggle, you know what I mean? After something like this goes down, after the adrenaline dump, after the police statements and everything else, how did you mentally process what happened?
Man, that's the part nobody talks about in training, right? The psychological aftermath of a situation like this. For weeks after, I'd replay every single decision in my head. Could I have seen it coming earlier? Should I have refused the job completely? What if I'd taken a different route?
That second guessing will eat you alive if you let it.
It absolutely will. And the thing is, I kept it all inside at first because I thought that's what you're supposed to do in this industry, you know? Like we're supposed to be these unshakable professionals who just move on to the next job without missing a beat. But that's complete garbage, man.
That toxic masculinity mindset in this industry is dangerous as hell. I've seen it destroy good operators who thought asking for help was weakness.
Exactly. I finally talked to a therapist who specializes in trauma, and it was one of the best decisions I ever made. She helped me understand that what I was experiencing was a completely normal response to an abnormal situation. The hypervigilance, the sleep issues, all of it.
How long did it take before you felt comfortable getting back behind the wheel for another client?
About 3 months. And even then, my vetting process became 10 times more intense than it ever was before. I turned down probably 15 jobs in that first year back because something didn't feel right or the client wouldn't answer my questions to my satisfaction.
And that's the smart play, brother. Your life is worth more than any paycheck, no matter how good it looks.
100%. I also started requiring face-to-face meetings before accepting any new client, no exceptions. You can tell a lot about someone when you're sitting across from them, reading their body language, seeing how they react to your questions.
That's solid advice right there. You can't get that same read over a phone call or email.
Not even close. And if they're not willing to meet in person before hiring you for personal protection, that's a massive red flag right there.
What about the financial side? Because I know you mentioned the company tried to screw you over on payment after everything went down.
Oh man, that was almost as bad as the incident itself. They tried to claim I violated some clause in the contract by abandoning the client. Can you believe that? I saved this guy's life and they wanted to withhold payment because I didn't deliver him to his original destination.
That's absolutely insane. Please tell me you had a lawyer.
I did, and it took 6 months of back and forth, but I eventually got paid in full plus damages for the stress they put me through. But that whole experience taught me another crucial lesson about this industry that every operator needs to understand.
What's that?
Always have your own legal protection. Not just insurance, but actual legal counsel who understands executive protection work and the liability issues that come with it.
That's critical advice that too many guys in this field ignore until it's too late.